A newly surfaced recording has everyone online asking one chilling question. What did Ellen DeGeneres really know?
She approached you to
Yeah,
work.
she's like, oh, do you need to make any extra money?
That voice belongs to Virginia Giuffre, the woman who pulled back the curtain on Jeffrey Epstein's entire network, the one who dared to name names, the one who was cut off before she could finish telling the full truth. But this time, there's something different about this audio.
So you think he did not die by suicide?
If Epstein didn't end his own life, then someone else is still out there, someone powerful enough to silence a billionaire inside a federal prison. And according to court documents, that someone wasn't alone. They had backing from 25 individuals within the entertainment industry.
The best one for me is Ellen DeGeneres, who is, by the way, a very nasty person. I've had dealings with her in Australia. Could I tell you some stories about that cow? But anyway, good riddance to her. But she was quite friendly with that P. Diddy bloke, wasn't she?
Ellen DeGeneres left the country just as the Epstein files began surfacing. Not long after, her executive producer died under circumstances that raised more questions than answers. And now, a newly uncovered audio recording is starting to connect dots that were never meant to be linked. But here's what no one is really addressing. A recording tied to an old case has suddenly gone viral, and people are beginning to question what it truly exposes. What's being said and who might be involved has caught many off guard. This isn't just another piece of celebrity gossip. This is about a pattern of silence. A pattern of sudden disappearances. A pattern where people on the verge of speaking out suddenly can't, and at the center of it all are two names that keep appearing where they shouldn't: Ellen DeGeneres and Ghislaine Maxwell. But before we break down these connections, you need to understand how this entire system operated, because without that, what you're about to hear won't fully make sense.
Walk me through this when you went to his house for the first time.
Okay. She took me over to the house. She waited downstairs. I just went up, gave him a massage, and that was it.
Okay. She approached you to
yeah,
work.
she's like, oh, do you need to make any extra money? I'm like, yeah. She's like, okay, I can give you, like $200 with this older guy in Palm Beach. He gets a lot of massages from girls. That was really, that's all.
That's how it always began. Every time Ghislaine Maxwell would target vulnerable young women, offering them money and presenting it as something completely legitimate. And before they even understood what was happening, they were already trapped. On July 2nd, 2020, Maxwell was arrested by the FBI in New Hampshire after months of staying under the radar. Prosecutors accused her of recruiting individuals for Epstein and in some cases being directly involved in serious misconduct. But here's what people often overlook. Maxwell wasn't just a recruiter. She was an active participant. She normalized the abuse, making these girls believe that what was happening to them was somehow acceptable.
She was like this really bright Mary Poppins kind of a figure, and she said, oh, you're reading a book on massage therapy. And we started talking, and she goes, oh, you know what, I know this guy. There's an opportunity, actually. If you want to become a real massage therapist, we can get you trained.
Listen to how she is described. Like Mary Poppins, a polished English lady who seems so kind and harmless. That was exactly the illusion. Maxwell's accent and elite upbringing built a false sense of trust, a surface-level charm that made victims lower their guard without even realizing it.
Like, no alarm bells went off because it was this proper English lady who just looked so nice.
And this is where it turns truly disturbing, because once these girls were pulled in, getting out was no longer easy.
Glenn grabbed one foot, I grabbed the other. And she says, you always want to keep one hand on the body when you're massaging somebody. And then he turns over and the entire thing changed. They said, take off your clothes. I had these little girl undies on, like little hearts on them, I remember. And they were laughing at that because they like that. The younger you look, the better it is.
The younger you look, the better it is. Let that really sink in. These weren't isolated cases. This was a system, a carefully run machine that depended on far more than just two people to function. And this is where the newly surfaced audio becomes critical, because Virginia Giuffre, the woman who exposed this entire network to the world, tried to warn us. She made it clear that Epstein was never acting alone.
A lot of people involved. It took doctors, psychiatrists, gynecologists, dentists. All these people knew what was going on. Hairstylists. I mean, the list goes on. I could keep going on and on and on. Drivers, chauffeurs, butlers, housemaids. It took all of these people turning a blind eye which they weren't blind to because we were right there blatantly in front of them.
Did you catch that? Doctors, psychiatrists, dentists, hairstylists. These weren't just random employees. These were professionals with ethical and legal obligations to report what they saw, and they didn't. But Virginia wasn't just talking about the help staff. In her voice notes, she revealed something much more sinister.
Just take a deep breath.
I'm trying. It's just I'm not that type of person. That's why I was so.
She was sold a human life reduced to property, and according to Department of Justice documents, the people involved weren't small names. They included some of the most powerful figures across entertainment, politics, and finance. Now, this is where it takes a darker turn because newly filed court documents have revealed something that should be making headlines everywhere, yet somehow it's being ignored.
She claims that 25 men, maybe friends, associates of the deceased financier, have been protected under secret settlements, secret deals, and that this information was not revealed to her during her trial. This is on top of what she claims are 4 other individuals, alleged co-conspirators who were never
25 secret deals, 25 individuals allegedly shielded from exposure, and while they remain untouched, Maxwell sits behind bars as they continue to walk free.
If this is true, number one, wow, and who are these people? What is a secret settlement? Can we ever find out? Can the public ever find out?
The real question everyone should be asking is this: who are these 25 individuals? Which celebrities quietly made deals to protect themselves? And why hasn't a single name been made public? Critics have begun piecing things together, watching who suddenly changed their behavior after Maxwell's arrest, who shut down their shows, who left the country, who altered their appearance. And one name keeps resurfacing: Ellen DeGeneres. She ended her show in 2022, the very same year Maxwell's deposition began, the same year allegations about her set erupted into public view. Just a coincidence? Many don't believe that. Leaked footage from Maxwell's deposition reportedly shows her being questioned about her ties to figures in the entertainment world. And when certain accusations were brought up, this was how she responded.
Her stories have changed so many times about what happens, when it happens, how it happens, with different versions. And each time she speaks, there's a different version.
What did you make of Ghislaine Maxwell?
It reminded me of nobody taught me how to curtsy and I didn't inhale. There was a lot of this evidence that came out during the trial that suddenly she's like, no, it's fake. I mean, during the trial, they showed her that photo and she said, yeah, that's me, that's mine.
Maxwell denied it all, but at the same time, she acknowledged the evidence. She admitted she was in the photos, admitted she knew the people involved, and now this pattern is getting harder to ignore. High-profile figures suddenly ending long-running shows, quietly relocating overseas. Critics say it's starting to look like panic. They didn't just walk away, they listed their mansions, told people they weren't coming back, and even changed their entire appearance.
So sincere, didn't she?
Very sincere.
Virtually choke on her words. But the best one for me is Ellen DeGeneres, who is, by the way, a very nasty person. I've had dealings with her in Australia. Could I tell you some stories about that cow?
But here's what really raises suspicion. Ellen didn't leave alone, and she didn't slip away quietly. She left right after someone who knew everything suddenly died. Stephen Witchboss wasn't just her executive producer, he was her right-hand man, someone who stood beside her for years, witnessed it all, and according to some reports, knew secrets that could have destroyed careers.
More tonight about the tragic suicide of Stephen Witchboss and the detailed steps he took to hide his plans. TMZ is reporting when Twitch left his home the day before his he took an Uber to a motel about a mile away. At the motel, he switched his phone to airplane mode so no one could reach him.
He turned his phone to airplane mode, checked into a motel under his own name, and left behind a note.
Also now know that Twitch left a note. Details have not been made public, but TMZ reports the note alluded to challenges Twitch had faced in
the note pointed to personal struggles, but here's what the mainstream media isn't saying. Online forums and leaked messages claim it hinted at something far deeper. According to these sources, he confided in his wife about what he had witnessed while working with Ellen, things involving powerful figures, names he never imagined would be tied to that kind of darkness.
I want to take you back to a time in my life where I tried to commit suicide a couple of times because it was so dark. I thought the only way to make this better, this pain go away, is to end my life. Had any of those attempts happened, I would have missed the best part of
Tyler Perry's words remind us that the darkness people carry is very real, but the timing of Twitch's death, coming just as Ellen was facing her biggest allegations and as the Epstein files were being prepared for release, raises questions that still remain unanswered. And let's not forget, Twitch was brought onto Ellen's show during her apology tour, placed in front of the camera as she responded to claims of toxic behavior behind the scenes.
She doesn't seem nice. It seems forced. People that are like that all the time, it doesn't seem nice. It's very forced. And whatever, you're allowed to be a right? You're allowed to be nasty to people. You're accomplished. You're a comedian. You did the whole thing. What you're not allowed to do is have a Guantanamo Bay situation in the backstage of your show where everybody's walking around afraid for their...
Walking around in fear for their lives on a talk show set. Just think about that. And speaking of that set, this is where it starts to get even more unsettling because fans began noticing something about the design of Ellen's show that they simply couldn't ignore.
Nice. We could have done this here.
Yeah, I was thinking about it, but I was like, you know what? That's a good way to die. They're not going to let me buy that place. Look at it.
Oh, well, you know where that is too, right? The similar image to that, right?
No.
I know Jamie does.
What is it?
It's on the set of a famous talk show that's now not on anymore.
Oh, Ellen? Was that Ellen?
Yeah.
Really?
Just look at the temple and then look at the...
Let me see Ellen's...
The temple on Epstein's Island and the set of Ellen's show play side by side, the same patterns, the same colors, the same design elements. Coincidence? Supporters of these theories don't believe so. They point to repeated symbolism across multiple clips, claiming Ellen wasn't even trying to hide these alleged connections. And if the set design alone feels unsettling, just wait until you hear the conversation that was actually broadcast on national television.
About this facial that you're obsessed with, how many did you get the whole cast of Ocean's 8 to do this?
Not everybody.
Okay, good, smart ones.
Just those that I thought would appreciate it.
Okay, explain what it is.
Well, it's this way in which one forces through microneedling. It's like a little roller with these, some of you, I think many of you know it, and it pushes through the skin and ruptures the collagen and then boosts it. You look like a burn victim for a day, but then it pushes the
What are you pushing into the skin, Sandra? Carrie? What are you pushing into the skin?
Well, you push in whatever the facialist would like to insert into your pores.
But what is it?
It is an extraction from a piece of skin that came from a young person far, far away, and they somehow figured out how to extract it.
Now let's focus on Giuffre, the woman who helped bring down Epstein's empire and forced Prince Andrew into a settlement. Virginia had been working on a book, one that would name every person she encountered during her time with Epstein, a book that could have exposed the entire network. But before she could finish it, she was struck by a truck in a hit and run, and the driver was never identified. Then, only weeks before the first major release of the Epstein files, Virginia died. Virginia Giuffre, the most well-known victim of the convicted Jeffrey Epstein, was reported to have taken her own life just weeks after she had publicly said she believed she had little time left following that incident. But this is where it becomes suspicious. Not long before her death, Virginia posted online, stating clearly that she was not suicidal and urging that if anything happened to her, it should not be dismissed and her family should be protected, warning that too many dangerous people wanted her silenced, and then she died, officially ruled a suicide just weeks before the files began to surface.
Have you reviewed any 2025-2026 Epstein files that were released that you believe reference or relate to those specific 2016 claims regarding the Podesta emails, Comet Ping Pong Pizza used as code possibly?
I'm sorry,
You're asking her about whether she's reviewed emails in the Epstein files which relate to the wacky Pizzagate scam.
You could characterize it however you want. I just would like to know if she's familiar with any of them.
So excuse me, your question is about whether or not she has reviewed any emails in the Epstein release files about Pizzagate.
Correct.
Pizzagate was totally made up. It was an outrageous allegation that ended up hurting a number of people, that caused a deranged young man to show up with his assault rifle and shoot up a local pizzeria. I can't believe you're even referencing it.
New names, new evidence, new connections. As more files come out, the pressure keeps building, and the people allegedly tied to Epstein are running out of places to hide. Ellen is in England. The files keep dropping, and Maxwell sits in prison with 25 names still locked away. The audio that just surfaced is forcing questions the mainstream media won't touch. And now it's clear this isn't about one person anymore. It's about a system, a pattern where people speak out, and then suddenly their silence discredited or gone, files get delayed, evidence disappears, and the truth gets buried under headlines that never quite make sense. Virginia warned us. She said she wasn't suicidal. She said powerful people wanted her quiet, and now she's gone. Twitch knew things. He saw it up close, and now he's gone. Ellen left the country, changed everything, and never looked back. And Maxwell, she's sitting behind bars with the names of 25 people who are still walking free. So the real question isn't whether these connections exist. The question is, how long can they keep them hidden? More files are coming, more names may surface, and if Ghislaine Maxwell ever decides to speak, everything could change overnight. So don't think this story is over because it's just getting started.